This is an interesting chess puzzle I found online. You can pause the video here to think about what the best move continuation, the winning move continuation for white. You can pause the video and think about it. If you are able to find it, please hit the like button and let's get started. First of all, let's look. This knight is right now the only piece that is free to move on different squares. And all of black's pieces, as you can see here, are blocked in this area. As you can see, these pawns cannot go backwards because black is coming from this side. So, first we will capture this knight with our king, as you can see here. Black now has only one legal move, and that is queen to a1. Black will have to keep moving his queen back and forth on these two squares unless we capture some pieces and open up so that more pieces can come into the game. Now we cannot move our king because then this pawn can move forward, promote, and then this rook and bishop can come out to the game and finish it. So we will have to move this pawn. But the first move is important. For the first move, will you move this pawn to h3 or to h4? Well, the correct answer is to move the pawn to h3. Now, this may seem a little bit weird, but it's all about calculating moves, and I'll show you at the end of the video why we move this to h3 and not to h4. So keep watching till the end. For now, let's just keep pushing the pawn up. Okay, now it's time to promote our pawn. Should we promote it to a queen right away? Well, let's try to think with logic. Even if you get a queen, would you be able to fight against this entire piece army? Well, I don't think so. So it's best to have a piece that can checkmate the king directly without opening up the game. And for that, the knight is the best piece. So we will promote our pawn to a knight, and we will first look at each square that this knight can be put on to check the king. So we have e2, d3, b3, and a2. Let's look at each option one by one. Let's take a look at e2 first. As you can see, getting the knight to d2 is pretty easy, but as you can see, the d2 square is protected by these three pieces, and these three pieces are protected by other pieces, as you can see here. So as you can see, this check will not gonna work. Let's look at d3 now. Again, getting the knight to d3 is easily. We can just do something like this. But as you can see, it is protected by both this rook and this pawn. So, and also, this rook is protected by the king, so this check will also not gonna work. Now let's look at a2. The problem with a2 is that getting the knight there is not so easy. To get the knight to the a2 square, we would first have to move to either b3 or c2. I'm sorry, to either, confused now. Okay, to either b4 or c3. And as you can see, those squares are protected by many pieces. So this check is also not going to work. Now let's look at the final option, b3. Getting the knight here, well, it's a tiny bit complicated because this pawn is defending this rook. As you can see here. As you can see here, the pawn is defending the rook. So we will have to eliminate this pawn first, and then we can move our knight to b3. But the problem is that this pawn can come forward and continue to support the rook. So we have to get rid of both these pawns. We will first get rid of the c5 pawn first, and then the c4 pawn. So we will move knight to f7, then e5, then knight d7, and then knight takes c5. As you can see, we have captured the first pawn, but we cannot move to the b3 square just yet because this pawn is protecting the rook. So we will need to eliminate the c4 pawn first. So we'll play knight to e4, then knight to d6, and then knight takes c4. And now we need to get our knight to the b3 square. So then knight to a5, and then knight takes b3 as b is smothered checkmate. But I wanna point out that you knew how precise our timing was. Look, if we had just been one move late, this queen would have been on a2 first. So it would be defended this square, and this checkmate would not have been possible. So let's go back to this position here. In this position, if you had played h4 instead of h3, then the queen would be on a2 on the final move, so it's not going to work. Now, let's go back to this position where we promoted our knight. If we had gone to capture the c4 pawn first, then as you can see, again, this queen would have been on a2, so you couldn't win this game. So that's an interesting chess puzzle, and you can send this to a friend who might find it useful to practice some chess. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe and like the video. It will really help me out, and I'll see you in the next video.